Serving all of San Diego, this is your Fox 5 News.
Matt, thank you. And at 9:16, let's get you on over to Raul for a very special edition of Ask the Shrinks. You got lots of friends over there today, Raul.
It's a party over here for Ask the Shrinks with Chelsea and this guy. This time, we're going inside the mind of a teenager. Millennial lifestyle expert Chelsea Krost joins us to do this. Hi, Chelsea.
Hello.
Nice to see you again. Also, as always, our personality expert, Dr. Richard Levac, and adolescent psychologist, Dr. Adria O'Donnell, both from the San Diego Psych Association. Okay, here we go. You guys ready?
We're ready. We're ready.
Our first question, this one, this is a tough one. My daughter loves reality TV from Jersey Shore to teenage and pregnant, or is that 16 and pregnant? I am nervous that what she sees on TV seems so normal to her. She is 16 and starting to go to parties. She says everyone drinks, everyone watches Jersey Shore. Should I stop her from watching these shows, or will that just backfire on me? Dr. Levac, we'll start with you.
Well, I think that I get distressed watching teenagers who come into my office who can't have a conversation with me. The guys have their hood on or are texting, their pants hang down, they don't know how to have a social interaction. If you allow your kids to watch TV, which you can't stop, at least talk about your values and maintain good family relationships so that you're teaching them that swearing and acting out is not good behavior.
Chelsea?
The reality is that 16-year-olds are going to know what they're doing on Jersey Shore, whether they're watching it or not. Kids are drinking and doing drugs and partying younger than ever today, although we don't want that to happen. It's reality. And is Jersey Shore real reality? No. It's Guidos and Guidettes having a major party on the summer at the shore, and it's blown up for the television. Right. That's not something that we need to be role modeling after, but that's where the parent and the child needs to sit down and have a conversation as this is appropriate behavior and this isn't, and this is not what your reality should be like.
Because if parents don't talk to their kids are going to think that this is real life, right?
You also have to watch it with them. If they're watching it, if they're listening to whatever music, you've got to do it with them. And then
I made my mom watch it with me.
Did you?
Because she's like, what is the hype? What is going on?
Well,
and
it's
she
a
was
cultural
addicted.
phenomenon.
She was addicted because it's you want to watch it. You escape.
It's like a train wreck.
Yeah.
But you can watch and say, okay, let's almost make fun of how ridiculous this is. And it can be almost a comedy. It's a spoof that this isn't real, and then it's rejected as this is below or where we want to live.
But research shows that the most powerful form of learning for teenagers is what your peers are doing. So if you're hanging around with good peers, classy peers, then you don't have to model what you see on reality TV. So make sure your teenagers are with a good peer group.
I can't watch that show, so if I had a teenager, I can't watch Jersey Shore with you. Okay, let's go to our next question. This one says, my daughter wants to be a model. She sees all the magazines and the young celebs, and she wants to be like them. I don't think she eats enough, and she is getting too thin. And she continues to say how fat she is. We are arguing all the time about her weight now, which has dropped to 100 pounds at 5'5" tall. What should I do?
The three things you don't want to fight about with a girl are food, fashion, and friends. If you do those three F's, you get a fourth F, which is not good for the relationship. So what happens? Frustration is the fourth F. And so what you want to do is, it's about control, and it's about her self-esteem. Girls are out there bombarded all the time with what's thin, what's the right boy hips, girl. This is everywhere, and she is in the middle of something. If she's dropping down weight like that, it's not healthy, it's bad for her menstrual cycle, and this is when you get, I think, a professional involved. It's pretty dangerous.
And Chelsea, the peer pressure is where it's rough.
This upsets me so much because the media today has such a distorted perception of what beautiful and perfect is. And perfect is long legs, a size 0 waist, and this like ethnic, very futuristic contoured face, and that is not the average woman. No. Women have curves. An average size woman is a size 6 to 8, and girls are just trying to get into a size 0, and a size 0 is not beautiful. It's borderline, sick. Like you can lose your period. There's a lot of consequences to anorexia.
So what should she do?
Good question.
What should she do?
Stop the fighting is the one thing. It shouldn't be. We should be in this together. I see her in the middle of something. If you want to be thin and healthy, that's one thing. But there are ways we do it. There's certain exercises. There's dieting. But this desire to be a model, you have to. There's a real side to modeling.
But I think if you get to 100 pounds at 5'5", your body has biochemically shifted.
Yes.
And you actually are addicted to losing weight, and you need professional help immediately because it's dangerous. People die of anorexia.
Wow.
The young girl needs to know the side effects to being that thin, and also the mother, instead of fighting, needs to seek outside help, because fighting with your mother can only make her not eat more.
Okay, hopefully that advice will help a little bit. Let's go to another question here. My daughter has a boyfriend. Uh-oh, there's already a... My daughter has a boyfriend. She is 15. She told me that she is not having sex with him. I am shy, and I don't know how to have a good sex talk about protection. What should I do?
Figure out how to get over your shyness and have a conversation, because if they're not having it yet, ... which is what she left off that sentence. So I don't know what you think, Richard, or what you think, Elsie, but find someone who can talk to her about it. You have an auntie, you have a very good friend, or sit down and say, this is really uncomfortable for me. I know it's uncomfortable. No one wants to talk to their parent about sex, but you have to have the conversation, because all the other conversations after are just take her to a doctor, find out a way to discuss this.
And when having this conversation, you don't have to be accusing your child of you're having sex, I know you are. It could be a general, open, honest conversation of this is what safe sex is, and if you're going to have sex, these are the precautions to take to make sure you don't get pregnant or you don't get an STD. So it doesn't have to be an accusation. It's a general, open dialogue between you and your child.
But Dr. Levack, I would argue not every parent has the open-mindedness to say, hey, my 15-year-old, I'm gonna tell you, here's how you deal with protection, and here's what you need to do to be responsible while having sex and being a 15 or 16-year-old. How do you deal with that aspect?
And I think if you tell your daughters and sons that the best way to have sex is to wait until you're in a committed relationship, and here are the downsides of having sex early, and have a discussion about what sex prematurely can do to your self-esteem, so they can make an educated decision rather than having sex in the back of a car drunk with somebody that they hardly know, which is not the way to do it.
No, it's not the way to do it. But I have to say that the girls in my practice, or the girls that I'm encountering with, they just have a secret sex life. They don't tell their friends when they're having sex. They don't admit it to other people. Really? They can come into my office and they can finally talk about it, but it's very private. Boys are out and flagging it up on their blog, and girls are denying it because of the social ramifications of having sex early. So there's a lot of secrecy for girls.
Absolutely.
But don't you think there is a healthy way to have first sex? Don't we want for our children for it to be in the context of a loving, sweet, committed relationship? Because I, as a personality expert, know that when I take a history of someone's life, their first sexual experiences, if they're bad, are very damaging to their long-term self-esteem, and later even to their marriage and their sexual relationship in their marriage. So it's more than just sex, it's teaching them to not have sex prematurely out of low self-esteem.
And through my radio show, I've been able to talk about sex and relationships with so many young girls and also young men. And the thing that makes me the most upset is when girls say, well, I just want to get it over with already. Like as if it's this big...
They have so much anxiety about it.
So much anxiety, and like, you know, all my friends are doing it, so I want to get it over with.
I've heard that too.
And that is the biggest way to regret it in your future. I've spoke with so many girls that say, I will never get that first time back, and I wish I knew how serious it was now as when I was 15 years old. 15
That's how beautiful
is still
it
young.
could be.
Absolutely.
And the more other girls hear that message, maybe it'll get across one of these.
And that's why I also think young role models are so important, like the Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato, and people who don't preach abstinence but waiting for the right person.
Maturity.
And you know, that could hit someone harder than hearing it from their mother.
Absolutely.
Okay,
That's
good advice
good,
there.
Chelsea,
We have time for one more. This is a rough one. My daughter is heavy. She is 14 years old. She eats unhealthy, and when I bring it up, she cries and screams at me to shut up. What should I do?
Well, this is really the age where your body changes a lot, and it betrays you in a lot of ways. Girls at this age crave really starchy, high carbohydrate, salt, really intense foods, and their body metabolisms are changing. So her body may be changing. She obviously knows she's heavy, and the mom bringing it up like this is screaming and shut up. The daughter has damaged self-esteem at this point, and the last thing you want to hear from your mother is talking about food. But having certain foods in the house and talking about healthy. The family, we want to be healthy, so we're going to have these as opposed to those. That might be a good way to go about it from a healthy standpoint, not a weight management standpoint.
Okay.
That's right. And even take her to a dietitian, to someone who can say, let me help you plan a healthy diet. Don't focus on the weight, focus on healthy living rather than on the actual food.
This is very personal for me because at 14 years old, I was 30 pounds overweight. And my mom was very fit, very thin, very beautiful. And she would never say, you're fat, but she would always try to get me to eat healthy or try to help me lose weight. And she never called it a diet.
Good.
She called it a healthy, because you need to be healthy. It's not about so much of how you look, but it's, you know, your health and your physical appearance go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But the last thing you ever want to do as a parent is tell your daughter or your son that they're fat and they need to lose weight. Make it a lifestyle.
Right.
Make it, you know, and the worst thing is also if the mom or the dad or the brother doesn't have a food problem, having the food in the house.
Because you're just going to want to eat it.
Don't have it around.
And moms say all the time, oh, I want to lose 5 pounds, I want to lose 10 pounds. The kids are tracking that. So
They
when
pick up on
moms
that.
have their own health
But
stuff.
you know, in parents, in families, everybody knows if your child is overweight.
Yes.
To pretend you don't notice, to pretend that it's not an issue, is kind of crazy making too.
Right.
To be able to say, are you worried about your weight? That this is your weight, what would you like to do? How can we help you with it, rather than to get into a fight with them? I think that's the issue.
And the reality is, no one's going to lose weight unless they want to, unless they're motivated to do it. So all you can do is educate someone on
Get your kids active.
Yes, this is the right way to lose weight. This is what, you know, the proper foods you should be eating. Let's do exercise and make it a group effort, because doing it on your own is never the
family approach.
Exactly.
I think we helped some people this morning at least get the lines of communication going, which is what it's. And this guy. Okay, so you guys will be back a little bit later on in our hour. You can still post your questions on our Facebook fan page or email them to fox5morningnews@tribune.com. Thank you to our very esteemed panel this morning. That was good advice.
Thanks.
Erica?
Very good advice from everybody. Thank you. Has anybody been fighting for McDonald's? That's what I want to know, because McDonald's is on the list. Anybody? Who? No? Okay. We'll get back to that. Google it and let us know what you come up with, Raul. All right, we are back again with Ask the Shrinks. This time we're going inside the mind of a teenager. Kind of a scary place to be, but we're going there. Millennial lifestyle expert Chelsea Krost is here to help us. Also here are our personality expert, Dr. Richard Levack, and adolescent psychologist, Dr. Adria O'Donnell, both from the San Diego Psych Association. Let's get right to our questions. The first one says, my husband and I have been married for 20 years, and we've raised 2 healthy, happy teenage boys. However, we are now noticing they seem a little coddled, and they don't really assert themselves to other adults. We think we've spoiled them. What do we do now? Who wants to start?
Do you want to start about personality?
Well, right. I think that many of our teenagers have been spoiled, unfortunately, because we've lived in a very prosperous time. But what I would do is to start now. It's not too late. Teenagers still learn. Look for specific behaviors that you think manifest being coddled and work on those behaviors. You can teach them now. When an adult comes in, look them in the eye, say hi, ask questions, teach them about how to interact and how to assert themselves. It's not too late.
I also think that sometimes parents take over because they are assertive, they want to get it done. So I see these really go-getter parents, and they're answering for their children. They're saying, I'm going to contact your teacher, let me talk to your coach.
That's a great point.
They take over, and then the child says, well, I don't have to do anything because Tiger Mom's on it. Or just, I have a very verbal mom or dad, so they take over. So they don't have to learn the skill simply because the parent's good at it. So looking at how you are enabling that immaturity, maybe?
That's very good.
I think aside from enabling from the parents, you know, way they raise their children, working with so many young people today, the people who are very self-centered and it's all about them, they've never been exposed to anything else but their world. So that's why I always love getting other people involved in philanthropy and charity. And if you realize how privileged you are, there's no reason that you have to be so self-centered and it's all about me all the time. You need to step outside your
went to another country, so that's
right.
But there's local. You could do soup kitchen. You could get your child off the couch and giving soup to someone who has nothing. It's just really leveling. That's a great point.
Things that don't cost anything, that really broaden people's horizons. Good point. Okay, next question. My husband and I have been secretly spying on our 15-year-old daughter via her text messages and emails. We now know things we should not know. And frankly, we don't want to know. My husband wants to come clean and stop, but without this, I wouldn't know what's going on in her life. Help.
Yeah, help is right. When she finds out you're doing this, which she will at some point, it's going to annihilate the trust that's between them. It will blow up the relationship. So that will happen.
So you all agree they shouldn't be doing this?
I don't think they should do it without her knowledge, but that's my 2 cents.
Right. They shouldn't be doing it. If you are trying to teach trust and honesty, if you're distrustful and dishonest, children behave as they see others behave. And if your parents are doing it, the teenager's going to do it. I think to be very honest with your child and say, we're afraid that you're having sex or with someone older, we're afraid you're doing drugs. We are going to monitor your behavior. Be honest about it and then have a discussion about their behavior.
So you think it would be okay if the parent said, look, I'm the parent, I know best, I'm paying for the cell phone, I have the right to check. So just so you know, I'm going to be checking. And then it's okay. But you have to say that to begin with.
I'll be checking because right now you've lost my trust.
Yes.
My respect.
Right. It can't just come off in a condescending and attacking type of way, because then the child's just going to close up and really not want to share anything. And I'm not a parent, but my mom is my best friend in the entire world, and from the time I was little, she was always sharing stories of her childhood or some things that she did that she knew were wrong or that she learned from. So I always felt like, okay, my mom's real. She was also a teenager and I'm a teenager, so I feel like I can go to her with certain things that you may not want to talk to with your parent. But if you're open about your own experiences as a teenager, coming from a parent, it makes the kids say, you know what, they were once young, they did these things, and the honesty and communication is not as scary, and then you don't have to feel like you have to go through your kids' text messages.
And also, technology is a privilege, not a right. I really do believe that. So if your child is abusing and they are the privilege and they are exposing themselves or talking sexually or talking to people that are too old for them, and you tell them you're going to look and they do it anyway, you can say you don't have the maturity right now to handle the privilege. So you take it away a little bit and then they earn it back. You don't take it away because then they never learn to master that. But it's a privilege.
So as far as this couple right now, they've already done it secretly, so what do they do now?
You don't say, hey, we've been spying on you. I think now you just say, you know what, there have been a lot of things in the media, we're really concerned about how much, there's got to be evidence that she's pulled away from her life and she's living a tech life, and you say, we've decided that we're going to do this from now on, here's your heads up, and then move forward.
But then you're sort of saying that partial lies are okay. I think if you say, you have worried us sick, and we've done something we're not proud of, which is we have been spying on you, we don't like
You think they should say that?
No, I don't know about that.
And we don't trust you because we found this out.
Interesting.
And from now on, you're going to have to win our trust.
Okay.
I mean, that's reality.
Okay.
You know, research shows that the teenage brain is fundamentally different. The prefrontal cortex, which allows you to make good judgments, is underdeveloped with teenagers.
So 25 now, they say.
So they have all these chemical drives, and they have no judgment, or very low judgment. You have to teach judgment.
Okay.
That helps the brain develop.
I like the different viewpoints, though. I like it when we don't all have to agree all the time.
No.
Open communication.
Absolutely.
Open communication.
Someday when we have more time, I'll tell y'all what my dad did checking up on me. It was all deserved and a place of love. But
you and I can swap stories, honey.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, to get a hold of Chelsea, Dr. Levack, and Dr. O'Donnell, all you have to do is go to our website, Fox 5.
So you don't need a PhD.
SanDiego.com, and click that Scene On tab. Raul, you are such a good teenager and kid. You don't have any stories, do you?
I was kind of a nerd, a geeky nerd. I went to school, did my homework, and came home.